Joining us right now to talk Bitcoin is Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman. An 8K out from the company this morning, revealing it just bought more than $800 million in Bitcoin. As of the end of last month, his company held about 200,000 Bitcoins. And Michael, I want to thank you for joining us. You have been early and courageous, and you continue to double down. I want to talk about where you think Bitcoin is, but also want to talk about how you think about MicroStrategy and your company as a proxy for Bitcoin now that ETFs are available to the public.
Sure. Well, I think I'd start just with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is certainly at least digital gold. It's going to eat gold. It's got all of the great attributes of gold, and it's got none of the defects of gold. If you could teleport gold from New York to Tokyo in a few minutes, people would like it. It's going to divert capital from risk assets and risk ETFs like SPY, and you can see that these ETFs are doing that. It's going to be incorporated into a lot of funds like the BlackRock Global Opportunities Fund or the Strategic Income Opportunities Fund. And so as it's an asset class. As it goes into other funds, it's going to become structural. The halving is going to cut the organic supply of natural sellers in half around April 20th. That means there's only about $32 million a day of natural sellers. And the price of Bitcoin is going to have to adjust up in order to meet that investor demand. So I think that's what's going to happen next to the asset class.
In terms, though, of how investors should think about your company, and right now I think they think of your company as a proxy for Bitcoin. It was a way for investors, frankly, who didn't want to buy the underlying coins to get access to Bitcoin and exposure to Bitcoin. The question now, though, that these ETFs have been approved and folks are funneling money towards BlackRock and so many others, how should they think about your company versus doing that?
Yeah, so BlackRock is like the container ship or the super tanker of Bitcoin. They can take $1 billion a day into their capital structure, and they can haul that very efficiently, 25 basis points. MicroStrategy is like air freight. We got higher performance. So what's going on here? MicroStrategy's got leverage. If we borrowed $800 million at 62 basis points, is there any company in the world that you wouldn't like to invest in that could borrow $1 billion at less than 1% interest to invest in your best idea? So we get that very intelligent leverage. It's non-recourse, it's unsecured, and then we buy Bitcoin with it. That leverage gives us volatility. It gives us performance. The performance gives us volatility. The volatility attracts capital, and we can then leverage more. It's kind of intelligent because it's convertible debt. It's given our shareholders more Bitcoin per share this week than they had a few weeks ago. So it's very accretive for them. And it's pretty compelling for every investor. If you're Bitcoin curious right now and you want to buy Bitcoin at the all-time high, how do you get the upside in Bitcoin with downside protection? MicroStrategy sold $800 million in debt, and we have $13 billion of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So we're giving you an over-collateralized loan and the upside. But if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and you love Bitcoin and you want to hold it forever, the ETFs charge you 25 basis points. MicroStrategy is accreting. We're giving you a yield against your shares in a tax-efficient fashion. So the maximalists like the equity. The hedgers, they kind of like the upside with downside protection. The traders love the vol. You know, we've got 100 vol asset here, and they just like the vol. So we're unique because you can't really trade options on the ETFs. And an ETF isn't going to issue a convertible bond with upside to Bitcoin, but downside protection.
So Michael, I try to understand the mathematics, and I know people like you went to MIT, and it just seems maybe it's more understandable for you or Andreessen or Peter Thiel or whatever. At 17, down from 68, and you know your leverage and everything else. Did you ever wake up in the middle of the night and have any doubt whatsoever? That's my one question, because I was thinking about you at 17,000, and now I look at it now, and I just can't believe what the market cap of your company is based on it now. I guess, and the other thing is, when it halves, should we, if we look at it on stock to flow, do we have to just double what the potential price is based on, if you use that metric? Is that a valid metric to use? And after the halving, shouldn't it be 140,000 immediately if it's worth 72 now?
Two good questions, and thanks for asking me. First, with regard to Bitcoin, no, there's no doubt in my mind Bitcoin was a better investment at 17,000 than it was at 65,000. I take the Warren Buffett view on this. Bitcoin's a superior investment to gold, equity, bonds, and real estate because it's digital. You can trade it 1,000,000 times faster than conventional assets using a computer. It's available. Most other assets only trade less than 20% of the time. Bitcoin's trading 168 hours a week. We bought $800 million of Bitcoin, and a lot of it we bought over the weekend when all the conventional markets are closed. It's global. It's the most widely recognized and trusted investment asset in the world right now. It's ethical because it's the king of all commodities. There's no issuer. There's no company. There's no country controlling it. And fundamentally, it's useful. Thousands of market makers can trade it all the time. Millions of companies can trade it. Billions of people. If you want to buy a house on Saturday in Africa, this is the way to do it. If you want to buy a car on Sunday morning, this is the way to do it. So it's a pretty great asset. It's the greatest of the assets, in my opinion. There's no second best asset. So I didn't have any question about it. We're just waiting for the rest of the world to realize how good it is.
All right, this is the part of the show where I break down the stocks that were mentioned in the CNBC clip. Today we're going to be taking a look at MicroStrategies, Bitcoin, SPY, and BlackRock. We're going to start off with MicroStrategies first. Look at this. Just from the low to the high around 2020 to 2021, there's a 12x of your money, guys. Just incredible. That was just on the first initial pump. And then you lost 85 to 90% of your money following that. Then just to make a double bottom and 10x your money again. I mean, that's just, that doesn't happen too often at all. You can see these last 2 to 3 months have just been crazy for MicroStrategies. They've put up 250% in what looks like less than a month and a half. It's because Bitcoin is surging. Let's pull up Bitcoin really quick. You can see it's done just about the same move from 39 to 72, guys. That's almost a double just in the last month or so. And people are calling for a lot more. If we pull up the all-time chart, we're just now getting past these 63 and what is this? $65,000 highs. Guys, we already know when you break two highs like this, this is not going to be a third high. This is going to blast off and break out, and it could be headed towards the 150,000 like Tom Lee and many other people are calling for. MicroStrategies, they are well positioned. I think he said he holds 200,000 Bitcoins, so their shares are just going to absolutely blast off. Take a look at these earnings really quick. It caught my eye. Negative $9 a share to plus $5.60. That's like unheard of. That is unheard of. You tie that with Bitcoin just absolutely exploding, and that is how you get a 250% up move, guys. It's up 11.7% today if we check it out. Let's pull up one. It's up 11.5%, almost 12% today. Let's just look at like a 10-day chart. Just phenomenal. A 20-day chart. Unbelievable. Let's say you caught it from this little pullback, what looked like a devastating pullback, right? All right, you're up 125%. Magnificent, guys. I don't think this stock is going to be stopping anytime soon unless Bitcoin, for some reason, all of a sudden turns around. But with the halving and everything coming, it's not seeming that way, guys. So this is definitely hype for the time being. He said Bitcoin should be able to become a part of the BlackRock ETF and the SPY. So we'll take a look at BlackRock really quick. The one-day chart looking pretty good down here. We have a pretty solid base. I wouldn't think that we would ever break this. We've broken out past the highs, which is looking pretty bullish. We're holding it. We've come down, tested the high. So let's say we broke out. Let's say we broke out of the high where it rejected. We finally broke out, came back, made it support, and now we're on our way up. So BlackRock is looking bullish. Let's check out the SPY. SPY, massive cup and handle. There's the cup, there's the handle. We broke out past all-time highs, and now we're just continuing to go straight up. We're holding this 21-day moving average, guys. Once we break that, we might have a slight pullback to the 500s, maybe even like 485, 475, somewhere in here. We might come back and retest this resistance, make it a support, and then make another leg higher, just like kind of this pullback ended up being, around to the 472 area. Now Bitcoin, guys, 72,000, they're shooting off, like I said, could possibly be headed to 150,000. That's what Tom Lee's calling for. There's people calling for it more, and honestly, it's way past my realm. I stick to stocks and companies. This is one of those things that I don't know how to value. I'm just sitting back watching the gains. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure and smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you know somebody that likes this type of content, please share it for me so I can keep growing the channel. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.